You are now running wild with the most underrated wrestling podcast in the world, WellsMania Podcast. I am your host, the Kyle Wells, aka WellsMania, and this right here is episode 169 of WellsMania Podcast, wherever it is that you're listening, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watching on YouTube, because yes, these video podcasts are exclusive to WellsMania YouTube, so hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. Running wild with me, the world's greatest co-host, Payne, and the WWE Human Encyclopedia, Jared Giles. And fellas, we've got a very special guest who will be joining us momentarily. But before we do that, I just want to say this. I don't bury talent. I am talent. I bury mediocrity.
You just botched the fuck out of that.
Well, if you go back and you listen, Cena he's got that, he's so excited, he's so hyped. You could hear he squeaked in his voice. So
at least he said the word right.
Well, did I not say it right?
No.
Mediocrity?
Well, there you did.
That's how he said the first time.
Well, no one's watching, so all right, let's go ahead and bring in our very special guest. There he is, our very special guest for this episode of WellsMania Podcast. He is there. Show that again, Jared.
Oh, that's the original Squared Circle Expo shirt.
Look at that. He is one of the founders of Squared Circle Expo. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Gonzales. Ed, how you doing, brother?
I'm going to apologize in advance for my voice. I come down with something, but I wasn't going to skip the podcast. So I'm due, other than my throat is a little scratchy. We're probably going to get some tornadoes or something in here in the next hour or two. I'm doing all right.
Way to power through, Ed.
Careful with that word. That's a PTSD word for Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you can feel it, you can chase it. So
there you go.
What are you, Bill Paxton? So, Ed, we have got a wild month of pro wrestling ahead of us. We've got WrestleMania. We are on the road to WrestleMania. But more importantly, we are on the road to Squared Circle Expo V, the Midwest's premier wrestling convention, right here in Payton, Jared, and I's home city of Indianapolis, Indiana. You, my friend, you are, where are you at? You're in Kentucky, correct?
Yeah, I'm in northern Kentucky. Basically, I'm in Cincinnati.
Okay, Cincinnati, Kentucky, Ohio, yeah. It's all the same.
Yeah.
My question right from the jump, for those who might not know, for whatever reason, have been under a rock, that might not know what Squared Circle Expo is, go ahead and just tell everybody, what is Squared Circle Expo to you? How did you choose Indianapolis to host it? And just run wild with it, brother.
Listen, I have been in the pro wrestling business and the convention business collectively for about 20 years in the pro wrestling business and about 10 years in the convention business. And we had a convention that we used to run across the country. We decided to bow out of that one. We sat at home for about a year, and then it turned into 2 and 3 because of COVID. But creative minds, as they do, they never sit at rest. And we decided, you know what, man? I bet we could pull this off with pro wrestling. And sure as shit, can I cuss?
Yes, you can. Yes,
all right.
Can.
Yeah. Sure as shit, we did. And Squared Circle Expo has turned into this monster where, you say the Midwest's premiere, and I love that. But I think we're getting ready to expand as far as premiere, not just to the Midwest, because we've got people coming from almost every state in the country. We've got multiple countries. We sold tickets in South America.
Wow.
To come to Squared Circle Expo. We've sold tickets to, I think, Australia, Europe, to come to Squared Circle
London?
Expo. I don't remember. I'll have to check with my partner. He's the logistics guy on that. But for me, Squared Circle Expo is a labor of love. I try to do everything that we can do to make it as fan friendly and as enjoyable as possible. People ask all the time, hey, you going to sell any autographs, online, or you going to, take pre-orders? And I tell people all the time, we don't sell autographs and photos. That's not what we do. We sell experiences and memories. So you've got to experience it in person. So like I said, it's a labor of love that's been about 7 years in the making, and we're getting ready to tiptoe into our 5th annual event.
Yeah. Payton, you and I, Jared, have you been to every Squared Circle Expo?
I have been to all of them, yes.
So Ed, we are right there with you, brother. Payton, Jared, and I, we have been to every single Squared Circle Expo. Payton, I'm going to lob this to you. Tell us about your experiences at Squared Circle Expo and what you got for Ed.
I mean, they're fantastic. It's hands down the best wrestling convention that I've ever been to. The first year we went as just fans, and then the second year is when we started booking our own booth to actually be a part of the expo, and it's been a great experience every year. I'm excited to come back.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What about you, Jared? You've been to every Squared Circle Expo. What have your experiences been like?
Yeah, I mean, I want to personally kind of thank Ed here for a minute. I had bought tickets to the first one, the World Champ Pass during COVID, and then you got delayed for 6 months a year. And right as the world was starting to reopen, I actually, not to get too personal, but I lost my dad in February of that year. So I was pretty down, and I'd pretty much just stayed, besides going to work, pretty much just stayed in the house. So the first Squared Circle Expo was like my first time really getting out, and especially with some of the, the mask mandates being lifted and things like that. And I got to say, that really personally just boosted my experience of that first one. So I was like, I got to go back next year, and every year I'm buying the World Championship Pass, and every year you guys exceed the expectations you've set the year before. So hats off, my brother.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being a part of it since the beginning. I'm glad we were able to give that to you. And you are right, man. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. I don't know how we're going to get any bigger than this year, but I always love a good challenge.
Yeah, let's talk about Squared Circle Expo 5, April 25th and April 26th at the Wyndham, Indianapolis West. It's right out there by the airport. So literally, like Ed said, you can fly in and drive over, Uber over, or reach out to WellsMania. Maybe I'll charge you to come pick you up from the airport.
I'll be honest, if you were in that much of a pinch, hell, you could probably walk it in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what the weather's like come April 25th and 26th.
That's fair.
But I love the Wyndham Indianapolis West. I really love that you guys have chose that hotel as the host hotel for this expo. It just, you get that nostalgia. You get that adrenaline rush when you step foot in the parking lot. I literally get it on the drive to the Wyndham Indianapolis West. And then when I pull into that parking lot, you got to get there early because, man, that parking lot fills up fast. But this year, Squared Circle Expo 5, it is arguably the most loaded expo in history of Squared Circle Expo.
There's no argument. This is, I like to say, I always say we're 0% carny, but we're 0% carny and 100% overbooked.
Okay, as of right now, as of recording this episode of WellsMania Podcast, how many guests have you booked for Squared Circle Expo 5?
I believe, I could be wrong, I could be off by a number or two, but I believe it's like 107.
Wow.
And you guys added just Matt Hardy today, so is that more? Are there more coming? Are we going to get 110? What's the number?
Let me tell you something. If anybody else gets booked, we're going to have to put them in the hallway on the 3rd floor. luckily for us, Matt Hardy, he was already in the books. We just waited to announce so that we could make sure that we could put those broken Matt Hardy photo ops. So he was already on the docket. We were just waiting for a little bit extra confirmation. I can tell you that in the last 3 days, including today, I have received text messages to book more people, and not just people. We're talking world champions. We're talking any other time, any other show, it would have been a no-brainer. And I had to tell them no. Not because I didn't want them. I don't have anywhere to put them.
That's a hell of a spot to be in, isn't it, Ed?
When we first started this, we said we're going to book 20, 30 guys and girls. And then we ended up booking 50 or 60. And then the next year we said, yeah, but next year we're going to do like 30, maybe 40. And then we ended up with like 70. Last year we ended up with like 80. This year we're over 100. But the thing is, there can't be any more. There's literally no more room.
Yeah. I remember the very first Squared Circle Expo and how small it was compared to where it is now. And just the evolution and the growth, man. You guys have built, like you said, a monster. And I love that you are getting the flowers. I love that you are getting the respect. I love that you are getting the attention that you, Heather, and Adolfo, all of you deserve, because I feel like I'm a part of the Squared Circle Expo family. I'm sure Payton.
You absolutely, all three of you are. Absolutely.
Because like Payton said, we started out as fans, and WellsMania Podcast has also evolved over the past 5 years. And thank you to you for allowing me to be a part of the media to come cover Squared Circle Expo. And as a matter of fact, Ed, it was on this day 1 year ago that I was interviewing Wheezy Blonde, another wrestling content creator, and Eric Bischoff crashed my interview. And he only crashed my interview because of Wheezy Blonde, which, it is what it is. But the fact that stuff like that, like you said, memories, moments, experiences, you never know what's going to happen at Squared Circle Expo. And man, I look forward to it every single year. I love how far out in advance that you guys book the show, because then that gives me plenty of time to save up my money to spend on the wrestlers who I want to get autographs and meet and greets with. As a matter of fact, I've got this poster right here from WrestleMania 8 that I plan on having Bret the Hitman Hart, which that leads me to my next question. Who are some of the big names that are going to be at Squared Circle Expo 5 that will attract people from all over the globe to come to Indianapolis, Indiana?
Well, I mean, you said the first one, right? Bret the Hitman Hart. The best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. And, we also have I just learned this actually last night. I had no idea about this. Did you know that Squared Circle Expo 5 will be Will Ospreay's first convention appearance ever?
Wow.
I did not know that.
Wow. Yeah.
I did not know that when I booked him. And I was talking to his agent, and he goes, yeah, with this being Will's first go at this. And I said, wait, what? And so this is the first time that AEW superstar, New Japan alumni, former world heavyweight and probably future world heavyweight champion, the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, will be doing a convention appearance. We've got Joe Hendry in the house.
Say his name and he appears.
And we said it. He's gonna appear. He's gonna appear. A little delay on that appear, but he'll be appearing. We've got legends like Sergeant Slaughter, Tito Santana, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, all the way up to the wrestling god, JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. We've got everybody from every aspect. We've partnered with the National Wrestling Alliance to have, Tom Latimer, their world heavyweight champion, so many of their other champions in-house. We've got so many stars. Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler. We have, my personal favorites, Brian Myers and Matt Cardona from the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. We'd be here for an hour if I tried to say all the names. But no, I mean, if you are a professional wrestling fan, whether that was you were a professional wrestling fan 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, or today, we have the guests that are going to interest you.
Then, now, forever. Payton, what do you got over there?
You're talking about all these unbelievable names, and we've seen unbelievable names in the past. Are there still names that you have not been able to get to a Squared Circle Expo that you want to get and that are possible? And can you maybe shed some light on some of those names?
So here's the thing. I don't want to shed light on those names only because if I shed light on those names, I feel it takes away from the names that are going to be there. So, are there people that we reached out to of a high caliber that was unavailable? Yeah, there was actually a couple. Are there people we still want to book, but whose appearance fee is a little higher than I'm willing to go right now? Yeah, those people exist too. But that's the thing about Squared Circle Expo. In all 5 years that we've been doing this, we're booking people I never thought. Mm-hmm. I tell people this all the time. That first Squared Circle Expo, I couldn't get people to answer my phone call. People would not pick up the phone for Ed because Squared Circle Expo was untested, unproven. It was just an idea. Today, I have to turn people down. You know what I mean? So there are always going to be people that we want to get. There's always going to be those white whales that at one time I probably said pure impossibility, that today I said, we got a shot. We got a shot.
I did have a question I wanted to ask you. Two people that are going to be there that you didn't mention, that are wrestling adjacent, that are going to be there for the first time, Paul Walterhauser and Mike O'Malley. What was there a lot of discussion with the group of bringing those guys in, or how did that come about? Or I know there's probably some secrets you don't want to reveal of how you get these stars, but how did that come about? Because I think probably pitching to Mike O'Malley, hey, we want you for a wrestling convention, might have been a little difficult conversation starter.
So it was different. So here's the thing. Prior to Squared Circle Expo, again, we were a part of another convention. And that other convention we dealt with wrestlers, but not, exclusively. But it was a lot of actors and movie stars and rock stars and things of that nature. Pro wrestling today, in today's climate, has become the equivalent to a movie star or a rock star and things of that nature. And the wrestlers are now obtaining agents, right? Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of guys and girls that I can call myself and say, hey, you want to do my show? Yeah, cool. But for people that I don't have that kind of relationship with yet, I might have to reach out to an agent. And they have an agent, but that agent just doesn't represent them. They're going to represent movie stars and rock stars and things of that nature. And I just so happen to have a really close personal friend who is also an agent that represents a lot of the pro wrestlers that are going to be on the show, who also represents tons and tons of actors and voice actors and stuff like that. And we were just kind of discussing, because the original idea for Squared Circle Expo in the beginning wasn't exclusively pro wrestling. It was going to be pro wrestling, but with pro wrestling adjacent. People that had some kind of connection to the pro wrestling world. And, the first few years, we had gotten we were kind of nervous to go that route, right? Because that's unproven, that's untested. And my buddy who's the agent said, I have a wild idea. What do you think? He happens to represent Mike O'Malley. He happens to represent Paul Walter Hauser. And he said, listen, PWH is doing these wrestling gigs. And Mike O'Malley, he had a role in heels. And do you think that would fit in your pro wrestling scheme? And I said, bro, this was the idea all along. If they want to be a part, I want them to be a part. And they wanted to be a part. So here they are. It's a nice mesh of worlds. And again, like you said, not necessarily pro wrestling, but pro wrestling adjacent, which I personally think is how Squared Circle Expo is going to grow and scale in the future, right? Because there's only so many pro wrestlers. But when you start to branch out to these other pro wrestling related fields, it allows you to get bigger.
Absolutely. And I'm 38 years old. I grew up in the 90s watching Nickelodeon. So when I saw that Mike O'Malley was coming to Squared Circle Expo 5, the child inside me, the inner WellsMania, the little global guts Nickelodeon WellsMania ran wild with that, man. So thank you. My childhood appreciates it. I've always wanted to meet Mike O'Malley, and now I'm going to get the opportunity at Squared Circle Expo 5.
Yes, you are.
I do have a question for you. It's about the wrestling shows that are taking place at Squared Circle Expo 5. Now, I know the Saturday night's Circle City Rumble is sold out.
It is sold out.
I was told to ask, even though sold out usually means sold out, but I was told to ask, hey, is there any way that they can add any more tickets to that show? And I said, you know what? I'll lob it up to Ed. I'll see what he can do. But sold out, man, usually means sold out.
So here's the thing. We are sold out now. As we get closer to the show, as we, get a better layout, a better feel of the land, there may, and please do not take this as gospel, there may be some new seats open just based on configuration. You guys see that all the time in like WWE shows where they're like, it's sold out. Oh, we adjusted our configuration and now we can fit, 100 more seats or whatever. Same scenario. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I can't promise. Can it happen? Never say never.
There you go. Split the Difference podcast. Split the Difference podcast wanted to know that one.
Basically, what you're saying is everybody's got a price, and if they're willing to pay it, there may be some more seats that open up.
I would never charge anybody more money than I've charged anybody else.
I do have a question to piggyback off the wrestling. So we know that there are Squared Circle Expo championships.
There are.
And they get defended every year at Squared Circle Expo. Has there ever been any discussion of possibly allowing those titles to be defended on other shows throughout the year?
Absolutely. And the other titles have been defended at other shows throughout the year. Mostly, obviously indie shows and stuff like that. But yeah, they've absolutely been defended at other shows. Not as much or as prevalent as I would like, but I will also say that sometimes that the people that hold the Squared Circle Expo titles, they might be a little out of budget for other promotions. So
now, is that a them decision on to defend the title, or do you have to reach out to them and be like, hey, this company wants the title defended?
Little bit of A, little bit of B.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Ed, how's your voice doing? You doing okay?
I'm hurting, brother. I'm hurting, but I'm here.
All right. This will be the go home for you. So you can, by the way, the medicine ball at Starbucks, I like that. It helps the pipes. I've
never been to a Starbucks. I'm not a coffee guy.
Okay, I'll bring you one. I'll bring you one at Squared Circle Expo 5 if your voice is still feeling hoarse.
I gotcha. No, that'll just be the rest of my body at Squared Circle Expo.
Absolutely. Last thing before we let you go here, squaredcirclex.com. Everybody can go and find out all the information. Have you ever thought about doing a Squared Circle Expo Hall of Fame of guests? Like
It
a ceremony?
has been in the discussion. That is something that has absolutely been in discussion. I still think we're too new for it quite yet. But as time goes on, that very well could be something that we discuss. Yes.
Because I'd like to throw my name as the host of.
Oh,
that
I thought
Hall
you were
of-
going to get inducted.
No. I would be like the okay, we're like 50 years from now. Who haven't we put in the Hall of Fame? I'm like the Bushwhackers going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Nothing against the Bushwhackers, but I just I think there's other tag teams that should be in there.
You're digging your own hole here.
I love the Bushwhackers. I love them. I love them. All right, Ed, real quick before we let you go, get anything else out there? Squared Circle Expo 5, Wyndham, Indianapolis West, April 25th, 26th. The floor is yours, brother.
Absolutely. Also know that not only is the Circle City Rumble sold out as of now, standard general admission tickets to Squared Circle Expo, the actual convention portion, shocking as it may be, as the Wyndham is a huge, gigantic place that we take over, that is also almost sold out.
Wow.
So make sure you go to squaredcirclex.com, grab your tickets. Do not hesitate. Do not sleep. Follow us on the Facebook and the Instagrams and the TikToks and the Twitters and the tweeters and anywhere else you can find us.
Awesome, Ed. Thank you so much. Rest up, and the three of us will see you very soon, brother.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Ed Gonzales from Squared Circle Expo. Payton, Jared, I love Ed, and I've nicknamed him Ed Goat-Zales. Ed Goat-Zales. See what I did there? Who are you guys? Payton rolling his eyes, shaking his head. Who are you guys looking forward to seeing the most at Squared Circle Expo 5?
I got a few people. You were talking about O'Malley. I'm actually a massive fan of Cobra Kai. So Paul Walter Hauser plays the character of Stingray in that show. So I'm very excited to meet him.
You know who he looks like, or who looks like him?
Mm-hmm.
Rich Abbott.
Who?
Carry on.
Also, Jim Ross. I've always wanted to meet good old JR. My God, it's JR! So getting to meet good old JR is going to be a great one. And then, we all know I'm one of the biggest Jinder Mahal fans. So Jinder is on the list. And then one of them that's kind of shocking, and you were talking earlier about how you have media credentials. I, this year, also have media credentials.
Hell yeah, brother.
So we can both walk around and get some interviews. And I have an interview on my list. This character is kind of my guilty pleasure. Every time I go back and watch the old days, he always puts a smile on my face. And that is Akeem the African Dream. So I want to get an interview with Akeem the African Dream and ask him if he realizes this, because I was watching WrestleMania 5 last night. I wonder if Akeem realizes that he has a pinfall victory on Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Mr. WrestleMania himself, HBK.
Yes.
Now, of course, he was not Mr. WrestleMania.
It doesn't matter.
When Akeem pinned him, but still,
he was pinned by Akeem at WrestleMania.
Yes. Now, there is a pro photo op that you can get, Payton, with Akeem and Slick. Are you going to do that? I feel like you have to.
I don't. The thing with the pro photo ops is it's kind of hard when I'm also running a booth, because then I got to take such a portion out of my day to go and wait for the photo ops.
Yeah.
I
get you. I feel that.
So if I was there as a fan, I would say definitely. I don't know. I'll have to play it by ear. Running the booth, it might be more of like a which table is available right now, and I have time to go up and do it.
How many years now has Wrestle With This had a booth? Is it 3?
I believe about 3 or 4.
Because I'm trying to remember when WWT first got the booth. I want to say it was Squared Circle Expo 3, but it could have been 2.
I'd have to go back and really look. It was 2 or 3.
Now, Jared, who are you most excited to meet at Squared Circle Expo 5?
I'm looking forward to some of the deeper cuts, some of the more obscure. Like, I think them getting Spellbinder is super interesting. He's not seen. I mean, Raven, I was a fan of. Obviously, Raven's a little bigger name, but Raven's what I'm looking forward to. And there's a lot of international flair. Yuga Sakazaki, Sumi Sakai, Zoe Lucas. So a lot of interesting people like that are more kind of ones that I look for going to a bunch of cons and having met a lot of people, especially over these last few years at Squared Circles. I'm like, who's the new, who's not always around at cons, and those sleepers, if you will, I find very interesting.
And I thought it was really cool that Ed mentioned that this is Will Ospreay's first ever
I didn't know
convention. That. I mean, how big of an honor is that for it to happen at Squared Circle Expo? So shout out to Ed and everyone at Squared Circle Expo. That's pretty damn impressive getting somebody of that magnitude, because arguably people say that Will Ospreay is one of, if not the greatest wrestler on the planet. And he's going to be right here in Indianapolis, Indiana. So now, speaking of best wrestlers on the planet, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Funny story, Payton. I don't know if I've told you the story of Jared and I and Kyle Gant going to Days of the Dead in Chicago. Have I told you this story?
Many times.
Okay, I figure I have. I'm getting old, man. Sometimes
you might as well tell it now. You've already brought it up.
So I was standing in line with Jared and Kyle Gant. We were so excited because we're all meeting Bret the Hitman Hart. We're getting a professional photo op with him, and we're next in line. But then all of a sudden, some jabroni kicks the cord, unplugging the cord from the camera and the computer. And dude, all hell broke loose in that room. So while everybody was trying to figure that out, Bret the Hitman Hart is literally just standing there, and he's just kind of like, what the hell's going on? Fuck Goldberg. So I decide to come up with something that I've always wanted to do ever since I was a little boy, and have Bret the Hitman Hart put his shades on my head. And shout out to either you, Jared, or Kyle Gant, who recorded that video of Hitman humming his entrance music while putting the shades on my head, thus fulfilling a childhood dream of mine. So I am going to get either a pro photo op or a picture with Hitman at his table, because I do want to get this WrestleMania 8 poster signed with a pink paint pen by the Hitman. I think that'll be really cool to add that to my collection. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Bret again. I do want to interview Eric Bischoff, possibly do a collab with Wheezy Blonde. Payton, I'm looking forward to running wild with you, get interviews with you. Who the hell knows who we're going to get, man? Last year, I was very successful in getting a lot of interviews. So hopefully this year, I'll be just as successful getting more. Yes, Payton.
A shout out to Wheezy Blonde, who now follows me on TikTok.
There we go.
Randomly popped in my live stream the other night, complimented my beautiful neon sign behind me, and then gave me a follow. And I threw it out there. I said, hey, I'm going to be at Squared Circle Expo. I'd love to do something with you. I'd love to make a video together. And she said, absolutely, just find me. So random Wheezy Blonde appearance on Stone Payne Productions, and it worked out rather well.
I love that for you, brother. Wheezy Blonde, damn good at the wrestling content game. And like I said to Ed earlier, and you guys, obviously, Jared, you were holding the camera. So you will be holding the camera again if you would like to. during the Wheezy Blonde WellsMania, possibly Stone Payne collaboration, interviewing Eric Bischoff. Speaking of TikTok, real quick, I just want to give some TikTok shout outs to Big Dad Trucking, Dance Dad Kevin Dininger, and Dylan Sean Stockley Taylor, because earlier Payton and I battled on TikTok. And for the first time, I'm sorry, yes, Jared, what's a battle?
Yeah, thank you.
So
I'm new to this TikTok game.
You're getting there, man. Shout out to the WWE Human Encyclopedia. Name your name on TikTok.
It's a good fucking time is what it is.
Yeah. So basically what a battle is, what a match is Payton and I go live and we battle against one another where his viewers send him gifts while my viewers are sending me gifts, and whoever has the most gifts by the end of the live, I think it's like 5 minutes, wins the battle. Dude, this battle that Payton and I had was neck and neck. I mean, people were dropping galaxies, and a galaxy is worth a lot.
We both got 2 galaxies apiece.
Yeah. And I made $11 off of that TikTok live. So once again, all the money that I make off of TikTok live is going straight with me to Las Vegas, Nevada, to fuel my WrestleMania fund. And then the leftovers the following weekend will go to Squared Circle Expo.
I am actually I'm going to take I've been saving up my TikTok funds the last couple weeks, and I am going to take all the proceeds that I get from my viewers, and I am going to use it to get some cool stuff at Squared Circle Expo and then turn that into giveaways.
I love that.
I actually have a couple ideas to maybe get some action figures or some Funko Pops signed by some certain legends, and then turn those into giveaways. So if you want a chance at some cool merch, go follow me on TikTok.
Yeah, and dude, I feel like you and I are starting to get into that giveaway era, because I've already said, and I'll say it again, once I reach 10,000 followers on TikTok, I am going to go into my personal collection and start cleaning house, because I've got so much stuff that's literally just been sitting there for years.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can tell. And your backdrop. So if anybody is interested in following WellsMania on TikTok, Stone Payne Productions on TikTok, and WWE Human Encyclopedia on TikTok, please do that. Get us there. Payton and I we're halfway to 10K. Jared, eventually you're going to get to 1K. It's going to happen. We're going to keep pushing for you, brother.
Yes, I've noticed you are on TikTok now.
Yeah, after the discussion, the spirited discussion last week, I was like, hey, I've been talking about this for a while. Let's boost this. The WellsMania has evolved. Stone Payne Productions has evolved. Maybe it's time for my brand to evolve in this content world. So
it is great. Speaking of content, can I just take a minute to brag about how well I fooled people?
Oh, here we go.
So I did a TikTok talking about Vince McMahon buying TNA Wrestling on my page. And I believe as we speak right now, it's up to like 50,000 views.
Wow.
The amount of people that actually legitimately got tricked and believed it, stitched my video and started talking about the news as if it was real, were arguing in the comments that it either was or was not an April Fool's joke. I mean, it was amazing. I did not expect it to skyrocket like it did, but 50,000 people fell for my April Fool's joke this year.
A lot of misinformation.
Yeah, as President Trump would say, fake news, news.
But the best part is people, it's also a test, because at the end of the video, I tell everybody it's an April Fool's joke, but they don't watch the whole video.
No.
Oh, yeah, I've noticed, man. That's why I start putting follow me at the beginning of my TikToks, because people's attention span, even on TikTok, it's literally under a minute. People's attention span still is less than a minute, which,
yeah,
I mean, that's TikTok for you. But yeah, man, April 1st, April Fool's Day, I posted the Stone Cold Steve Austin "Don't Trust Anybody" meme because I don't care what you tell me. Hell, I don't even care what I say. Don't believe anything from anyone. Don't trust anybody on April 1st. But I will say this. April 1st is a very powerful date for WrestleMania. There have been multiple WrestleManias that have taken place on April 1st. As a matter of fact, we just celebrated the 13-year anniversary of WrestleMania 28 down in Miami, Florida, where the three of us were. Jared was with me. We didn't know Payton yet, but Payton was there. But that means I celebrated my 13-year anniversary of my WrestleMania moment. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And Jared, you wanted to tell this story on this episode. Was I what?
Were you, like, your WrestleMania moment was you crying in your seat, sulking because John Cena lost? What?
No. This was before John Cena lost to The Rock. So the tears have not flowed.
This story you can actually confirm. There's I think a timestamp involved.
There is, and I'm about to pull it up because I tweeted this out yesterday. But if you go back to WrestleMania 28 on the Peacock, you can see yours truly, a babyface WellsMania. Because you got to remember, this was 13 years ago. I had a little bit of hair on top, but no hair on the face. But I had a WrestleMania moment with Layla because earlier in that day, Jared and I were waiting in line for Layla. And we'll get to that story here in a second because it's a funny one. But at the 2:18:45 mark of WrestleMania 28, yours truly and Layla popped up on the Jumbotron inside of Sun Life Stadium. And if you were watching at home, there I was on your TV screen during WrestleMania 28. Thus, Layla and I, 13 years ago, had a WrestleMania moment. So Jared gave me this great idea last night. He said, since Layla is going, exactly, the WWE Human Encyclopedia coming in clutch again. Since Layla is going to be at Squared Circle Expo V, Jared said for me to print out that picture of Layla and I from WrestleMania Fan Access 13 years ago and have Layla sign it. It's a genius idea, Jared. So I appreciate you throwing that at me. I plan on getting her to autograph it and possibly doing an interview with her. And I'm really curious to see if she even remembers who I am. I know I've got a beard, but the face still looks the same. Would you say, Jared, I still look somewhat the same from 13 years ago?
Yeah, if you take away the beard, because the beard does kind of take the attention. But yeah, you look facially, you look the same besides the beard.
Now go ahead and tell this story of you and I waiting in line to meet.
Okay,
Layla.
I know Stone Payne will get a kick out of this one.
This is good. This is good, Payton.
How it ends. So it was the night before, and our group had decided we weren't going to the Hall of Fame because they didn't want to get, it was too stuffy. That's when they had the dress code regulations and things like that. So it was like a free for all. We didn't have any real plan. It was like, everybody go do what you want to do tonight. Miami, kids that were 25 or young. So I think at the time, 20, 25, that age range.
Sounds about right. God,
in Miami, kind of with money to waste and nothing going on after being there for a couple days. So do what you want tonight. Tomorrow we're booked. We got WrestleMania. So me and Kyle here decide, well, we'll just go to Access because it won't be that busy because most fans are at the Hall of Fame. But you don't know who you're going to get because most superstars are also at the Hall of Fame ceremony. So we go through, we're doing whatever, and there's a line, and we jump in, and it's Layla, and she's doing the photo thing. Well, they come up, and they're like, hey, it's about time for and we're going through. It's not a super long line, but we had to wait a while. And we're cutting through, and then we get like the queue, and we're the last before you get to the stage of the queue, like the last like 20 people or so in that spot. And that guy comes out and he's like, oh, Layla's only going to be able to do like 2 more people. And we're like, no. And Kyle's like, Layla, I love you. Don't leave me.
I did. I yelled at her.
And she's like, and she's kind of laughing. She's like, oh. And then like he's like, she does her too. And she's like, she looks at the security guy that's like trying to push off. She's like, hold on. She's like, we'll cut off the line with them. And I believe Kyle was standing behind me. So she's like, hey, we'll cut off the guy with the red shirt. So I was like, okay, Kyle, like, good job. Like, you got it. Like,
Yeah.
we high five, we go in there. Like, we take the photo. Hey, I'm like, hey, thanks for waiting. She's like, no problem. She goes and she's like, oh, thanks for being so nice. And he's like, oh, thank you for waiting. So she leaves, and like, we're kind of waiting because we're starting to leave the line. And there's still a line of people, but they're waiting for the next superstar. And the guy comes out and he's like, replacing Layla is Yoshitatsu. Everyone, no disrespect to Yoshitatsu, but everyone immediately bolted out of the line, and we're like, yes, we got Layla. All you people waiting for nothing.
Dude, that is one of my all-time favorite WrestleMania experiences, because poor Yoshitatsu.
Poor Yoshitatsu.
Literally nobody stayed in line for Yoshi. All those people cleared out and went on their way, and poor Yoshi's just sitting there at the table. And I think, Jared, you and I were like, should we go in line? And you're like, no, let's move on. So,
yeah, we were like, oh, should we go to I'm like, oh, let's see who else is here.
oh, man. Yeah. WWE fan access, the good old days, man, because now
it's
it's
a money pit now with the world and fanatics.
And I have some breaking news to let you guys in on this. Well, you guys already know, but breaking news to those
kayfabe.
Yeah, kayfabe, pal. Kayfabe, pal. Breaking news, fellas. I will be attending my first ever WWE World at WrestleMania 41, and I will be meeting Austin Theory, my twin, my little brother. Everybody on TikTok Live says that I look like Austin Theory, so finally I will be at the same place at the same time with Austin Theory. And once again, Jared gave me another genius idea. No surprise there. When I meet Austin Theory for the pro photo op, we're going to do the Spider-Man point at one another, proving that we are not the same person. Because I don't know if you guys have saw the latest Austin Theory video where he was with Grayson Waller, and Austin Theory got a nice pop from the crowd. But I've been tagged on that. People are like, this is WellsMania. This is WellsMania. You can't change my mind. Their voices sound the same. They look the same. We've never seen them at the same place at the same time. WellsMania is Austin Theory. Austin Theory is WellsMania.
Austin Theory. That's cool, but what? There's
what?
There's another
what?
Austin there.
Oh, you mean Stone Cold Steve Austin? Yeah, fellas. Earlier today, I got in the queue, got in the line, and the last time that the photo op for Stone Cold Steve Austin went live, it sold out so fast that I had no shot at getting one. Well, today, fellas, this is the breaking news. I got through the line, got through the checkout, and the fiance and I will be meeting Stone Cold Steve Austin. Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
At WWE World on Saturday. This, to me, is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't do meet and greets like this hardly at all. So once I saw I had another opportunity, I hit that checkout with the Stone Cold Stunner. And the lovely Ashley Louise and I will be, I know this is going to make you sick, Payton. We will be getting matching Austin 316 t-shirts for the pro photo op, and we will send that to you as a Christmas card this year, Payton.
I will say the one thing that's good about the Fanatics photos is you can fit up to 4 people in one photo with the ticket. So like you could split the price. You know what I mean? If you're going with multiple people.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. So like if 4 people wanted to meet Stone Cold, you could split the ticket 4 ways and 4 people could get in the same photo op.
Man, I could make some of my money back off that pro photo op. I didn't even think about that. Good thinking.
That is awesome. That is a once in a lifetime photo. That is the top of my list.
Yeah.
I am so jealous, but that's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm really excited. He's on my Mount Rushmore of wrestlers that I've yet to meet. So the fact that I'm going to get that opportunity after all these years, I mean, teenage version of me is marking out that I'm going to be meeting Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Who is on your Mount Rushmore of people that you still want to meet?
Ooh, that's a fun one. We'll go around the table. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now these are like unicorns. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, well let's say Austin don't count because you're gonna get him. You know you've got him.
So Austin has been out of Stone.
Eliminated. Yes.
See what I did there? The Rock, The Undertaker, Triple H. Oh man, that 4th slot. Who could I put in that 4th slot? Man, that's tough. What's yours, Payton? Maybe it'll spark my 4th slot.
I mean, I would also have to go Austin, Rock, Taker. The 4th one is a toss-up because you already have probably the most rare one ever, which was Vince.
Yeah.
But I do have a personalized autograph of him, but I would love to get a picture with Triple H. So I would probably have to go Austin, Rock, Triple H, and Taker.
What about you, Jared?
Well, I mean, I assume we're doing obviously people who are still leaving that we can meet.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Unless
you have a
like
time
Andre
machine.
the Giant or something.
No, yeah, because I was going to say, before he passed after WrestleMania 30, Warrior had actually signed up to start doing Wizard Worlds and stuff, but he passed right before.
Man.
So, like, think about that, how the opportunity would have been. But
that would
I
have
digress.
Been ultimate.
I mean, Austin for me, that's a great one. Obviously, you're getting to knock that one out. The Rock, again. Most of the other people you have mentioned, like you guys have mentioned, like I met Undertaker, I met Triple H, I met a good man. I know he's controversial right now, but I'd meet Brock Lesnar.
It's a good one.
And
I know the 5-foot giant Chris Angle would love to meet his hero Brock Lesnar.
And I'm gonna go with a different McMahon, Stephanie McMahon.
I love that. Love that.
Have you ever met a McMahon? Because I mean, you've met Vince, I've met Shane.
No, I've never met a McMahon.
Okay.
I was actually not to keep this show going long because I know we almost hit an hour already. But
oh wow, yeah, we are.
But I when WellsMania met Vince, I was actually heading downtown to meet up with Kyle that day, and I missed Vince by like 30 minutes. So,
yeah, and dude, I got lucky.
Yeah,
I got lucky because, and I'll make this story short for those that don't know how I met Vince, because they're probably wondering, how did you meet Vince? Well, I worked at a radio station right there on the Circle, WIBC, and we also have the Fan in there, ESPN, the Fan, and JMV, who hosts the Ride with JMV in the afternoons, he was having Big Show on as a guest, and Big Show was going to be in studio. Well, I was down in the lobby waiting for Big Show to come in to meet him right there in the lobby before he went up in the elevator. But then all of a sudden, I get a phone call from the WWE's biggest fan, John Glick. And he's like, dude, I don't care where you are right now. I don't care what you're doing right now. If you want to meet Vince McMahon, come down to the Omni, because he just went up to his room to change his clothes from his workout. And he said that he is going to take the time to meet every single person that's in the lobby before he heads on to wherever he's going after the hotel. I have never ran so fast in my life. And keep in mind, fellas, where I'm at. I'm on the circle of downtown Indianapolis. And I ran probably, 3 or 4 streets to the Omni. And I got there just in time because the elevator doors open and there he is. Vince McMahon. And I tell you what, it is just so surreal seeing Vince McMahon in person, up close and that personal. I could not believe that he was right there and that I was about to meet him. And he's going around shaking hands, and he talks like this. Dude, he is everything that you see on TV, that dude is in real life. Like, he was in character. And it was fucking awesome because once he got to me, I shook his hand and he reeled me in and said, "Damn, you could be a wrestler." And in my mind, I'm thinking, there's no fucking way that Vince McMahon just said that to me. But he did. And I looked at him and I said, "I'd love to come wrestle for you, Vince." And he was like, "Oh, maybe I'll look into that one day." And he's like, "Let's get our picture." And then we took our picture, and then he smelled like, I don't know what cologne he was wearing, but dude, when he threw me in, he's a big dude. Vince McMahon is a big dude. And I didn't realize how fucking wide I'm a wide guy too. And he roped me in. So I got all his cologne on me. And I'm like, God damn, I smell like Vince McMahon now, which is kind of weird in that context. But weirder things have been said. So then I went ahead and I did it. I did it, fellas. I took my shot. I said, "Vince, you have got to bring WrestleMania back to Indianapolis."
How did I know that this is where this story was going?
He looks at me and he goes, "Well, when's the last time we were here? 92?" And I was like, "Yeah, 1992. You want to know how old I was?" He looks at me and he goes, "You were probably a kid." I was like, "Yeah, I was 5 years old." So he was like, "Well, damn, we'll have to get WrestleMania back here soon." And now WrestleMania, well, it took a little bit after that interaction with Vince, but WrestleMania is coming back to Indianapolis. And that is how I met Vince McMahon. So I tried to make it short, but man, when I start telling that story, I start reliving that moment.
Meeting McMahons happens at the weirdest moments. That's how I met Shane.
Where'd you meet? Yeah, where'd you meet Shane at?
It was random, out of the blue. I was dropping my mom and my sister off at the airport one morning at like 7:00 in the morning. I'm in the drop-off lane. You know how the Indy airport, there's the upper and the lower.
Yeah.
We pull up. I'm literally dropping them off. We get out of the car. We're saying our goodbyes, whatever. And then the car that's parked in front of us, the door opens and Shane McMahon steps out of the car. And I'm like, I take a look and I'm like,
"Here comes the money."
I'm like, I had to do a double take. I'm like, holy shit, that's Shane McMahon. And I turned around to my mom. I'm like, "Mom, like, it's fucking Shane McMahon right there." And
what'd your mom say? "Who's that?"
No, she knew immediately. She's like, "You've got to go up to him." And and it was like, I know, but it's the airport, blah, blah. So I'm watching, and he's just kind of standing there and he's on his phone. He's not like rushing to go in. And in my head, I'm thinking, what are the odds of this?
Right.
Like, it's never going to happen ever again. Totally random, out of the blue. The dude gets out of the car in front of me. He's standing here. I'm like, the worst he can tell me is no. Like, I'm going up to him. So I'm like, went up to him. "Excuse me, Shane." The typical introductory stuff. "I love your work. Can I please get a photo?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Blah, blah, blah. Take the picture. And then he walked off. And I was like, I can't believe that just happened.
Right.
Like, that will never happen ever again.
No. And that's, you bring up a really good point. There are so many people who are, for whatever reason, intimidated, afraid, nervous to go up to somebody to just simply say hi, maybe ask for a picture. Don't be, because they are human beings too. And they understand that they are public figures that are out in the public and people are going to recognize them, but it just depends on your approach.
Well, and
how
it also,
you go up to them.
I would say it also depends on the situation. Like there are situations where I don't like interrupting people at dinner. Like if they're eating a meal, I don't like going up to their table because nobody likes to be interrupted at dinner, you know?
Right.
And then if they're like with their kids, like their children, I don't like going up to that because now I'm involving them with their children. So other than those two situations, I would say it's fair game, but just treat them like normal people. Now, if they're at dinner and you walk up and you're like, hey, excuse me, when you guys are done, if you'd be cool with it, that's a whole different thing. But don't be weird. Don't just go be like, hey, can I interrupt your steak dinner and get a picture? Like,
Right.
you know.
I had a situation, and Jared, you remember ruthless aggression.
Oh, I do remember ruthless aggression.
So Payton, I don't know.
I would assume he'll be at Squared Circle Expo.
I have not seen him in years, man. I don't know. I don't know what's happened to him.
I could have swore I maybe talked to our mutual friend Cody about it. I'm pretty sure we saw him at a WrestleCon or something within the last like 2 years.
Okay. Payton, when we say ruthless aggression, do you know who we're talking about? Not John Cena.
Oh.
So
Kyle, regale him with the story of ruthless aggression.
So there was this guy, and he wore this long leather trench coat, and it had his gimmick, his name on the back. And for the life of me,
you don't remember?
No, I'm spacing because I only remember him as ruthless aggression.
The Rick Effect. Kyle's done. Kyle's falling out.
Wait, the Rick Effect?
The Rick Effect. Yep, you got it.
Oh no! Good God.
RICKEFF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
got it.
I remember that now. God, let me compose myself. Yes. So the Rick Effect. If you're out there, Rick Effect, we'd love to have you on an episode of WellsMania Pod. Why the hell not? I'm sure you've got a lot of stories to share, but yeah, we saw this dude I've seen him at the airport. I've seen him in hotels. I've seen him at conventions. I've seen him at shows. But I tell you what, man, this guy does not fuck around with his memorabilia getting signed. He literally has luggage suitcases full.
Oh, he's one of those people.
Crates, like milk
crates
stacked on top of his rolling luggage.
Don't be that guy. Don't be the Rick Effect.
His hustle and determination is on another level of chaos that I've never seen before. I've never seen anybody approach wrestlers like this before, but this guy, man, we call him ruthless aggression because he literally is ruthless aggression. He goes right up to the wrestlers, doesn't even say anything, or he might, but we don't hear him. Throws the action figure, a championship belt, right in the wrestlers' faces and just demands the autograph.
But he's also one of those guys. Those are the people that give fans a bad name.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Those are the people that wrestlers end up disliking fans because of.
I hope he's tamed himself over the years. Like I said, I have not seen him. So who knows where he's at, what he's doing. But yeah, man, I remember one time I saw Booker T at the hotel restaurant. Now, granted, yes, I did go to airports. I did go to hotels, but I was always very respectful when I went up to the wrestlers. My approach is very professional and respectful, and I've never had a bad experience with a wrestler anywhere. Well, Seth Rollins questioned why I was at the airport, but he wasn't necessarily mad about it.
Colby didn't like you?
Colby, shout out to Dion. Yeah, so I met the Shield. I met the Shield at the Indianapolis.
It can't be worse than my Ric Flair encounter.
We'll talk about that here in a second.
Woo!
I met the Shield at the Indianapolis International Airport because
Well,
I
you
was
almost
told-
let's not forget the story. You almost ruined the Shield's debut.
Yes, I did. So it was the night before.
I think that's why Colby was like, "Why are you here?" Because it was supposed to be top secret. He was in Indianapolis.
It was the night before Survivor Series, and I saw Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, and I thought it was really odd that they were at the WWE hotel. But they were cool, man. They took pictures with me, and then they debuted the following night. And then I saw them again when they were flying to Illinois. They came into Indy to drive, I think, to Illinois. But Seth Rollins looks at me, he goes, "How'd you know we were even here? We're not even wrestling tonight in Indy." They were wrestling in Indy the following night, but they were going to Illinois and then coming back to Indy. And I told him, I said, somehow people just know where you're at all times. But if you don't want to take a picture with me, by all means, I'll just get it with Roman and Dean. And Roman goes, "Come on, Seth, just take the fucking picture." So Roman Reigns, super cool dude. I got to meet him before, obviously, he launched into the God mode that he is now. But I got to meet Shield Roman Reigns, which was really awesome because a lot of people, Roman Reigns is on their Mount Rushmore of people they'd like to meet. And I got to meet him early on in his career.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. There's this like slew of people out there that are notorious for just having bad encounters with fans. You know, they're like, oh, like in the fandom world, they're like, oh, that guy's not nice. Like if you ever meet him, he's going to either not take the photo. Seth Rollins is one of those guys I have never heard good things about when it comes to fans meeting him. It's always been negative.
I've got 3 separate Seth Rollins stories. You heard the airport one. And then there was one where he actually came to the radio station early in the morning when he was the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. He didn't want to be there. He was tired, which I understand. I get it's early in the morning, but you know, you're a WWE superstar making media rounds. You got to make the most of those, dude. You can't be mad because it's going to come across that you don't have the time or want to be a part of this. And it showed in that interview. And then you guys might have been with me when we went to Xfinity. Jared, you were. We were the last ones to meet Seth Rollins, and he half-assed his autograph. He half-assed his autograph on my action figure. Very faintly, you can see a squiggly SR. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, people have been waiting in line to meet you, and you're going to half-ass the autograph? Like, I don't know who was in charge of WWE PR during those days, but don't book Seth unless Becky's with him.
Yeah.
That's my
opinion. Let me flip the question here because I have a couple that I have had these encounters with. Is there someone that you two have met where you heard ahead of time, like, oh, this guy's a jerk? Like other people have had really bad encounters with him, but then when you met them, they were like really, really cool. And it was like, I don't know what everybody was talking about. He was awesome with me. I've had a couple people like that. And
who are yours?
The number one that I've always heard is like, oh, that dude's an asshole. And I've met him twice. And both times he was one of the coolest guys I've ever met was Ryback. I met Ryback.
I've never met him.
I met Ryback on the streets in New Orleans at WrestleMania 30 one night. And he was awesome. He asked me, he was like, "You want to pick, kid?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Come here." It was like, yeah, he was amazing. Jim Cornette is another one. Jim Cornette was one of the coolest guys I've ever met. You know, because he talks like Cornette. You know how Cornette talks.
I've never met Cornette.
I have met Cornette. I can't agree. I've met Cornette a couple times, and he was very cool when I met him.
Yeah, he's awesome. But I've had other people be like, "Oh no, he's an a-hole." And like literally, when I met him, I went up to him and was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Cornette, could I please get a picture?" And he went, I kid you not, this was his response. He goes, "Fuck yeah, you can. Come here."
Fuck yeah, you can.
And then I went to take the selfie, and he goes, "Oh no, we're not doing a selfie." And he just grabbed some random dude off the street. He's like, "Hey, take this fucking picture." And it was amazing.
I love that. I do have one.
Okay.
Who is it? Jared was there. He witnessed this interaction. We were at the Circle Center Mall, and Jared and I were walking around. I think we might have had some other of our friends with us. But all of a sudden, I look over at this cell phone kiosk, and there's Jerry the King Lawler. And of course, everybody's like, "Oh, Wells, go up to him," because I'm usually the first person that people suggest go up to anybody to say anything. That's just my MO. So, and you know me, I'm not afraid. I am not afraid to go up to anybody, anywhere. And I go up to the King, and I waited till he was done with his transaction at the cell phone kiosk. I think he was buying a charger or something. And I go up to him and I said, "Mr. Lawler, so good to see you back in Indy. Could I get a picture with you?" Kid you not, he goes, hold on a second. Kid you not. And I said, "It's okay. We don't have to get a picture. I just wanted to come say hi." And he's like, "No, let's get a picture." So he then changes his
I don't know if
demeanor.
I'd have wanted to pick at that point. I'd have probably been like, I don't want it now.
Kyle's gonna bring him a charger to Squared Circle Expo 5 and be like,
Yeah.
"You're the King."
But I've
I
seen
bothered
King,
you 10 years ago.
I've seen King several other times after that, and he's been cool towards me. But that one time, he kind of just was.
He was a little.
Jared saw it.
Well, remember when
I
we
do remember
met
the
him-
deep breath because we
when-
laughed for like 5 years.
when we went and met him. I don't remember where we were. It was a Comic-Con because remember I wanted to get a pic and get an autograph from him.
We were down in Kentucky.
Yeah, we went to Louisville, and he was nice, but he wasn't like he didn't act overly excited to be there or be talking to people.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think, and I've heard different things. I go to, I haven't the last couple years, but I used to go to quite a few cons, Comic Cons, horror, all those different cons. So I like going to those. And I've heard, oh, this guy's not so this person, whatever. And I've never really had a bad experience. There's been some people that, obviously treat it more like a business transaction. Like they just want to take the photo, sign the gimmick, and then carry on. And hey, that's fine. Like, that's all I wanted. That was all we had. I mean, obviously you're not going to get probably repeat customers or repeat fans doing it that way. But no, I mean, I can't say I've ever had a bad interaction with anybody, any famous person when I've, photos or autograph wise.
Well, and I think, like I said, it's all about our approach.
Yeah.
And the three of us are so professional with how we go. Do you want to?
I'm not going to go on a rant. No, I'm not going to do the rant.
Do you want to give the Cliff Notes version of your interaction with Ric Flair? Because I still have people who remember your iconic rant about Ric Flair, you meeting Ric Flair.
Yeah. So the Cliffest of Cliff Notes version is he's walking. You're Ric Flair. All right. 16-time world champion. One of the greatest of all time.
The Nature Boy.
You are walking around Bourbon Street, WrestleMania weekend.
Was he actually walking or was he strutting? Because
no, he was
usually
walking.
with that much drinks, he's either strutting because he's in gimmick or because he can't keep a straight line.
I don't know. He was waddling around Bourbon Street.
Puttering. He was puttering.
All right. The busiest street in New Orleans, WrestleMania weekend, 100,000 wrestling fans are around here. Okay. And he's got some chick with him. I've never seen this girl, and I go up to him, and mind you, this is WrestleMania 30. So, almost 11 years ago. So I'm 17. I'm not I'm technically not an adult yet. So I walk up to him and I'm like, "Excuse me, Mr. Flair. I would be honored if you would take a picture with me." This motherfucker looks at me, pokes me in the chest, and says, "It is family time. No pictures. Get away from me." And I'm just sitting there going like, all right, well, fuck you then. Like, and immediately I'm thinking, family time, Rick. This is some hooker you picked up across the street. Okay. Let's be real here. And then he walks in the hotel and he starts drinking more from the bar. He's not even with that chick no more. And then he's poking some other dude in the chest that walked up to him. So I don't know. He's just weird.
Yeah. Nate should just be appreciative that he's, one, still alive, and two, people still find him relevant enough where they want to come up to him and get their picture taken with him. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Ric Flair on the road to WrestleMania. He has voiced how he feels about John Cena winning number 17 at WrestleMania. Now, I know we're getting really deep into this episode, so real quick, I loved the John Cena Cody Rhodes promo in London. I'm even wearing the London t-shirt. My bank account has taken a pause on the WWE merch because Cena now shouldn't show back up until WrestleMania. Now, granted, he could the go home week, but we'll see. But yeah, fellas, what were your thoughts on John Cena and Cody Rhodes across the pond in London?
I thought it was a great promo. I thought it was exactly what was needed, and I think that Cody held his own. In fact, you're going to disagree with me. I think Cody won the war of words in that promo. I think Cody out-promoed John Cena. I think that Cody's jabs were a little bit deeper and more cutthroat than Cena's was. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a below the belt promo all the way. But the line that won the promo, in my opinion, for Cody was when he looked at John, he was like, "You want to talk about company creations, John? The people made me. You were created by the guy in the office that we don't even talk about anymore." And I was like, you can't argue that because it's the truth. That was the pipe bomb moment.
Cena had a nice counter where then he rebutted it by saying, "Well, you left the company to go play with some, daddy's son's money," where he took a shot at Tony Khan, which I popped for that. I'm like, damn, we're getting shots at Vince. We're getting shots at Tony Khan. This was the best segment between Cena and Cody on the road to WrestleMania. And I will say this, Cody held his own. But I also feel like Cena held back. He could have absolutely not only cooked, but he could have really buried Cody if he wanted to. But I love that Cena held off and let Cody do his thing. And I love that he put Cody over. He put Cody over in this segment with that badass sell of the Crossroads. I mean, it looked like Cena died after taking that Crossroads. That was the most intense Crossroads that I've ever seen Cody Rhodes deliver. Cena laid there. Literally, he just laid there like he was dead. And then Cody standing tall.
And somehow it'll take 7 of them to win at WrestleMania. So,
well, that is if Cody wins at WrestleMania. But Jared, what are your thoughts on the Cody Cena cinema?
Yeah, I thought you guys really pretty well broke it down. I thought it was the segment they needed for the build. It had kind of gotten a little stagnant over the last couple of weeks the first week, Cena's explanation was good. Last week was good, but it was not really any new ground. With this being the last scheduled appearance of Cena, I'm glad that we finally got the back and forth instead of Cena talk, Cody talk. I thought it was interesting that the line that really made Cena come back to the ring was Cody pointing out the people say John can't wrestle. I don't know if that was maybe leaving some breadcrumbs that John still kind of does care what the people say here. So maybe he changes right before he leaves. Maybe there's a little breadcrumbs there, or maybe that means we're going to get technical John Cena at WrestleMania 41. He's going to drop toe holds and, snap mares and things like that. Who knows what Cena's going to bring, but I thought it was a good segment. I thought this was, as a whole episode, one of the better complete shows on this build to WrestleMania with the Cena Cody segment, the escalation of Gunther Jey Uso, and then the to be expected, but kind of the next beat in the women's storyline.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the London show was the best of the international tour. We finally got some life in the Jay and Gunther storyline. That has become more personal now, with Gunther absolutely destroying Jimmy. Who thought that Jimmy was going to bleed on Raw? I didn't, but it was awesome seeing him bleed. And then, of course, I've got props right here. Blue Chill. This is the flavor that Logan Paul carried with his self to the ring. And we're getting Logan Paul versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. And that match is going to be prime. Thank you.
All right. Let's speed this up because the weather is starting to look a little weird outside.
Oh, yes. All right, fellas. WellsMania Madness, greatest WrestleMania of all time. The bracket, we have got the championship match. And I am happy.
Uh-oh.
I am beyond happy because, by the way, 938 people viewed the poll. That's the prime. But only 34 people voted. Make it make sense. Where the hell are those other hundreds of people? Where did they go? How do you not just click one of the two options? I'll never understand. But anyways, advancing to the championship match with a percentage of 53% to 47%.
Close one.
Way too close. The number 4 seed, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25, defeats the Cinderella story of the number 16 seed Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 40. Thank God I don't have to go on a heel promo here. The right matchup won. And your guys' thoughts on Taker HBK advancing to the championship match?
It's the match that needed to win. I think the Cinderella story was never going to make it to the finals. I think that this is the match that we all predicted probably would make it to the finals when we started the tournament.
Yeah. Shout out to the I think OA3 guys, the podcast. Yep. They actually talked about both of these matches in a match on the other side on their last episode. So they did a good breakdown of all those. If you want to know more about the best rivalry, spanning multiple matches in WrestleMania, they did a breakdown of that. But yeah, I mean, technically, like we talked about this, and a lot of people in and outside the business say like this was the best bell-to-bell match in WrestleMania history. So no surprise that Undertaker, Shawn are in the championship of the greatest match of all time for WrestleMania.
Yet I'm glad you mentioned them. A three-way is you're good. Brandon, Donnie, and Pierce, they host their own wrestling podcast, which is on Facebook and Spotify and YouTube. I believe they're on Instagram as well. You can follow them on all the socials. Tell them WellsMania sent you. And they did. They gave us a shout out on their WrestleMania rivalries episode, which I thought was really cool. That's how I know, fellas, that we are making noise in the pro wrestling world, is other podcasts are mentioning us on their show. And they're getting involved with what we are doing right here on WellsMania. And this bracket, I knew when we did the selection show, I knew that people were going to run wild with it. So the other matchup from the Final Four wasn't as close as that one, but
interesting.
59% to 41%, a total of 29 votes, even though 752 people viewed this. The number 3 seed, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock from WrestleMania 17, is advancing to the championship match, defeating the number 2 seed, knocking off Hollywood Hogan versus The Rock from WrestleMania 18. Sorry, Payton.
No, that actually, but I'm okay with either one of them because
I mean, those are,
they're both, I mean, unbelievable matches. I actually, coming into this, because I hadn't looked in a few days, I thought Hogan Rock was going to win because the last time I had looked, Hogan Rock was actually winning the poll by like quite a big margin. So I just like, oh, it's going to win. But Austin Rock makes the comeback. And you know what? I think this is the perfect final. I think these two matches legitimately could be the two greatest matches in WrestleMania history. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker versus Austin and The Rock at WrestleMania 17. WrestleMania 17, argued by many people to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. So it's fitting that the main event of that show is in the finals of this tournament. I could see it going either way in the finale. I really could.
What about you, Jared? What do you think about the championship match in the WellsMania Madness?
Yeah, I think we got the right to especially how we broke down the bracket. I think, if you're going to argue, I think those are two matches that immediately come to mind. If you say, hey, what's the best WrestleMania matches? I think those two come towards the top already. Ironic, both matches happened in Houston, Texas.
Shout out to H-Town.
That's interesting. I think, I don't know if you can't say when the votes came in. I think a lot of people yesterday, as you mentioned earlier, was the anniversary of WrestleMania 17. So I know I watched the My Way video package yesterday during my lunch break at work. So I'm sure that might have helped sway a couple votes here or there, but
what a great way to spend your lunch break, by the way.
It happens.
Yeah, we've got the number 3 seed going up against the number 4 seed in the WellsMania Madness greatest WrestleMania match of all time bracket. And I like that I waited. I waited closer to the episode to get the polls up. I actually launched them during or right before Raw kicked off in London. So I think I will do the championship match. Do we want to save it though? Do we want to save it for the WrestleMania episode?
No, let's just do it. Let's just get it.
Yeah, because I know you got some travel coming up with that week, so
that's
trying
right.
to get the polls out and all that. I think doing it Monday afternoon or before Raw again and giving them 36 hours or so is a good.
So we will do that. The championship match will be The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25 going up against the number 3 seed Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock from WrestleMania 17.
At least it's less predictable than the actual NCAA tournament, not having all ones in the field.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I filled out my bracket, I went chalk heavy and I got 3 out of the 4 Final Four teams right. The only one I missed was Houston. I put Tennessee in there because I'm like,
I think a lot of people did.
There's no way 4 number 1s are going to be in the Final Four. Wrong. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to. I've already been mathematically eliminated from winning the Wells Bracket Challenge, as have you, Jared.
Oh, yeah. I'm not last. That's what's important. I'm not last.
Good. And Payton, next year. What'd you say, Jared?
I checked. I had to make sure because the bracket's not been kind to me.
Payton,
but
you got to
play. Check and I'm not last, so shout out to me.
Shout out to you, absolutely. Payton, you got to play next year. You got to play. I don't care. You got to play.
You literally probably cannot do worse than me.
you got a shot, man. And you could have won $600, which could have bought you half a ticket to WrestleMania.
You know what's free though is subscribing to Wrestle With This.
Oh hell yeah, there was big news yesterday.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The road to Smash Mouth Slamboree. Tell us, Payton.
We are officially, the Dodge made it official. And by the way, let's just give the Dodge is the GOAT. I mean, the man is impeccable. One of the greatest promos of all time.
First ballot WWT Hall of Famer.
Although I gotta admit, I was a little concerned because we hadn't seen some Wrestle With This content, and then to pop up on April 1st, I thought we were getting ribbed, but it was a great the swerve of no swerve and great news from the Wrestle With This folks.
Yes. We are officially on the road to Smash Mouth Slamboree 4. As the Dodge laid it out, it will be 6 episodes in length, starting from episode 65, going all the way to the 70th episode spectacular. And once those 6 episodes are done, it will culminate with the return of Smash Mouth Slamboree, the event that started it all for Wrestle With This. It is going to be a fun time.
I love
was
it.
Was there a drop date
brother.
for the episode 65?
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, because I've been getting blown up. The WWT faithful have missed WWT, but now we are officially on the road to Smash Mouth Slamboree 4. And who knows what you're going to see at Slamboree 4.
Well, Dodge, who knows what you're going to see on the road to Slamboree? Dodge promised a lot.
Yeah.
He promised twists, turns, shock, awe, cheers, tears. He promised a lot.
I'm excited. I look forward to it. Smash Mouth Slamboree is the WrestleMania for WWT. So it's nice that we'll get another showcase of that.
Do you have any wants or predictions?
For the road or for the Slamboree 4?
All of it. I, of course, can't really speak.
Yeah, but I'm also trying to be careful with what I say because I do know a little bit, but
let's go to a unknown party. Jared, do you have any wants or predictions?
I want to know what's going. I really want to. I hope that Mike James will just make a decision. He's got a lot going on. He's got to deal with the Ravishing Anton. He's got to deal with the guy who pays his bills and Tim McLaw. But he also seems to have a crisis of confidence. And a lot of people are saying there's only one way to do it. And he's got to man up and get back in the ring. But I don't know if he's getting cleared. There's a lot of questions, but it's going to have to come to a crossroads one way or another. So he may have to sacrifice himself, or he might just wind up without a job.
Regardless, I think a lot of people want to see Ravishing Anton lose that world title.
He's held it for so long.
So he is the Roman Reigns. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Roman Reigns' reign as champion. I am not enjoying Ravishing Anton's reign as champion. He's been the champ for like 3 years.
That's the thing, though. I don't think he cares.
He doesn't.
Oh, definitely does not care.
I don't think he cares if you enjoy it or not.
I had to kiss his ass just for him to come on WellsMania Podcast at JCat, you know? Sometimes you got to take one for the team.
I will say
to do that.
We know 3 people that will not be challenging Anton for the title at Slamboree. Both Mondo, Stone Payne, and Rathbone are all disqualified from challenging for the world championship as long as Anton holds the belt. So those 3 cannot be in the world title picture.
So we need Mike James.
We need a new challenger.
We need Mike James to be the savior, to be the one to come back and hopefully dethrone Ravishing Anton. But like Jared said, he has to be, personally, I think he is medically cleared. Without a doubt, that dude is medically cleared. But in his mind, that's where he needs to be cleared. And until he's not cleared up there, he won't ever step foot back in the squared circle. But once he gets mentally cleared up here, that dude is going to wreak havoc on years that he's missed out on. So hopefully on the road to Smash Mouth Slamboree, we do get a returning Mike James in action. I also am really looking forward to seeing the dynamic of Mega Mondo and Stone Payne. These two have kind of come together.
Now, hold on.
What the hell's going on with these two guys?
They worked as a team at Halloween Horror. You know, who knows where we'll go from there. I will say
they won.
Maybe
they won at Halloween Horror. They looked good together.
Yeah, maybe you can confirm this. I'm hearing reports that Mega Mondo will be at episode 65, and he will give us some insight on his road to Smash Mouth Slamboree. Do you have any update on that?
Well, Mega Mondo is no stranger to Smash Mouth Slamboree. He's the Undertaker of the event. He's never lost. He's got quite the streak building. So I'm probably
Two of those wins are against Stone Payne.
Yeah. I'm probably going to guess that Mondo's going to have something to say. But then again, where does that road lead Mondo? What's going to happen, man? He's done it all at Slamboree. He's won the Showcase Battle Royal. He's won the world title. He's defended and successfully retained the world title. So it's like, where does Mondo go on the road to Slamboree 4? What does he want?
He's not going for the
title.
Hasn't
got yet.
Another
he's
thing
not going for the title.
Yeah. Well, another thing we got to remember is Stone Payne has a guaranteed title opportunity for any championship other than the world title. Mike James made him that deal. So will he use that at Slamboree? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
It's going to be interesting. But the only place that you can watch is Wrestle With This on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. The only place that you can watch WellsMania Podcast also on WellsMania YouTube. So subscribe to Wrestle With This on YouTube. And while you're there, subscribe to WellsMania on YouTube. Yeah, fellas, we've been going for over an hour and a half. I know Payton's about to hunker down with the storms rolling in. So anything else that we want to get out there before we go home?
Do we have confirmation on next week? There's a rumor of a guest. I don't want to say anything. I know lots of moving parts on the WellsMania
guest podcast. Plural.
I don't know. I need confirmation.
Yes.
A lot of moving parts in the WellsMania universe.
Yes, I was going to save that for the very end.
Tell it now. This is the very end.
But
there's tornadoes coming. Put the info out.
I have been in talks with TikTok sensations Tag Team Twinning, and Jordan and Sydney are going to be running wild on episode 170 of WellsMania Podcast next week.
Right over here. I'm not sure which side they'll be on. Maybe both. Who knows?
Next Wednesday, Tag Team Twinning will be running wild on WellsMania Podcast. So if you have any questions for Tag Team Twinning, be sure to tweet at WellsMania or go to my Facebook and post them, tweet them, and I will ask them when they are running wild with WellsMania Podcast, because they are absolutely killing it in the TikTok world. I think they're almost to 10K, if I'm not mistaken, Payton.
Yeah, I know they're on the road to 10K. They were talking. They did a live. Well, one of them did a live last night during NXT, and they're on that road to 10K. I don't think they've hit it yet as of recording this episode, but who knows? By the time people watch, they may have hit it.
They, as of right now, they are at 9,224 followers.
They'll be there by next week.
By the time they are guests on WellsMania Podcast, they will probably have hit 10K.
We'll have the 10K celebration with them next week.
10K, Jordan and Sydney. Shout out to the twin sisters and WWE enthusiasts. Follow to chat all things pro wrestling with us. Tag Team Twinning on TikTok. Hit that follow button, get in their lives, and guess what? Tell them WellsMania sent you. It's kind of like, I need to get that on a t-shirt. Tell them WellsMania sent you. But yeah, fellas, before we go, I do want to mention this, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. We talk about WrestleMania season. We talk about the road to WrestleMania. The WWE Hall of Fame class of 2025. It feels like it's set. I would be very surprised if we get another inductee. I'm still holding out for Cyndi Lauper, always. But we've got Triple H, The Game. We've got Michelle McCool. We've got the natural disasters, easy for me to say, earthquake and typhoon, Lex Luger, and for the first time ever, the immortal moment, the WrestleMania 13 match between Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Fellas, this means the Hitman will be the first ever 3-time WWE Hall of Famer. Your thoughts on matches being inducted, or immortal moments being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
I like it. I think it's fine. I think we were running out of people to induct anyway, so you might as well just start inducting legendary moments.
But this one, are you okay with this one?
I mean, it's because they're going to be in Nevada and Stone Cold is going to be there. So you might as well do a Stone Cold moment.
What about you, Jared?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with it. TKO, the corporate umbrella WWE falls under, they've done it. The UFC Hall of Fame has put fights in for the several years because they've wanted to get Stephen Bonner in there, and they knew he couldn't from his career, so they wanted to put the fight in there. So I like it. And Payton, I think, brought up a good point, and much like Ed brought up about an hour ago, there's only so many wrestlers, and there's only, a lot of them have been in the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, let's face it, the Hall of Fame is a nice gesture, but it's also an avenue for WWE to sell tickets to the induction, and you get more star power by inducting matches and moments from guys that are already in there, so they can be in there multiple times. So I think it's win-win all around. Legends get a nice little extra payday and their flowers. TKO sells the tickets and merchandise and toys and all that. And then fans get to relive great moments of the past. So perfect WrestleMania weekend, no problems with it. This match, I know what a lot of people are saying. You could have picked other ones. A lot of those don't have either two living participants right now, or a lot of them, the guy who would be there has a lot of controversy around him. So they may not try to have him in the public television eye, if you will. So I have no problem with Austin Hart, and I guarantee Stone Cold will be a part of WrestleMania weekend. So he's not going to turn down help, not acknowledging Bret Hart. So
right,
he was going to show up for Bret.
Yeah, and at first I was like, no, there's still people that need to go into the Hall of Fame. But then the idea started to grow on me. And I really like the idea of an immortal moment going in to the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, personally, I don't give a fuck. When I think of immortal moments, I think of the immortal Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, arguably the most immortal moment that has ever happened in wrestling history. Me personally, controversy aside, Andre not being here posthumously, he went into the Hall of Fame after he died. What difference does it make putting him back in there for the second time? Me, I would have had Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 be the first ever immortal moment inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. That's my only gripe with this. However, I do feel like eventually it will get in there, possibly as soon as next year, because that's something that you can't snub from the Hall of Fame. You talk about
this is going in because Austin is going to be there. That is why they picked a Stone Cold moment.
I get that. And personally, I love that they're giving Bret Hart the 3-time induction into the WWE Hall of Fame. I think that's really cool. Which means when we see Bret Hart at Squared Circle Expo 5, we can congratulate him once again on going into the WWE Hall of Fame. So I think that'll be really cool. And I'm going to try to land an interview with the Hitman. I know that might be a real sharpshooter, but I feel like I'm in an excellent of execution position to execute that. So I was trying to be punny there, but it didn't land. But yeah, so the road to WrestleMania, we are on it. And I also want to do a programming note that because of me traveling to Las Vegas, we will be doing the WrestleMania prediction show on a weekend. We will be doing it the Saturday before WrestleMania, and we're going to do it early in the day. So it'll be running wild all week long. It'll give you plenty of opportunity to tune in and run wild with Payton, Jared, and I. And I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to it every year. It's one of my favorite shows that we do. And next episode, Twitter. TikTok. Is this the wrap up?
We're rambling.
How's outside look?
I saw some lightning.
Look okay?
I saw some lightning in his background, so I think he's getting a little tight over there.
Look, I can't help it. I got severe PTSD. Okay.
All right. I've rambled up enough. Okay. Next episode, tag team twinning will be running wild on episode 170 of WellsMania Podcast. Payton, go ahead and plug your social media, and then you can go to your basement.
At Stone Payne Productions on TikTok and at Stone Payne Prod on X.
Jared, plug your newly named TikTok so we can get more followers coming your way.
Yeah, it's WWE Human Encyclopedia. Shout out WellsMania. I'm on TikTok. Going to be starting posting more content as we go on, like recaps of the weekly shows, my little 1 minute thoughts and things besides what we talk about on the podcast. And then JC Giles on X and Instagram, JC Giles 123. Here in the next week or two, I'm going to post some flashbacks from the previous Squared Circle Expo, so you can see some other photos and things I've done for leading up to Squared Circle Expo 5.
It's a great idea. I might join you in on that. Thank you, fellas, so much for running wild on an action-packed episode of WellsMania Podcast. I want to thank our very special guest, Ed Gonzales, a.k.a. Ed Gonzales from Squared Circle Expo. For all information, go to squaredcirclex.com, and there might just be somebody there that you want to spend your money to meet. And we can't express it enough that this convention is the best. It's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And yeah, he'll be there. Bret Hart will be there. Before we go, I do want to shout out that the viral video of my take on CM Punk's favor, 46,000 views on WellsMania Twitter, 209 likes, and a bunch of comments, man. So the videos are a lot of fun, but the only place that you can watch them from here on forward, I'll post clips and stuff on social media, but full episodes, video podcasts on WellsMania. Follow me on WellsMania YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and every other social media platform at WellsMania. Thank you to the world's greatest co-host, Payton Payne. Thank you to the WWE Human Encyclopedia, Jared Giles. Thank you to Ed Gonzales from Squared Circle Expo. And thank you to you running wild with us until next episode. Take care. Stay positive. Run wild. And dominate the day. Yeah, it's over. That's it.